And welcome back to the, what is this? 15th installment? 16th, isn't it? Of the Long Voyage. I think it's the
No, no,
16th.
no. Not sure we're that far in.
Are we? Are we not? We're not.
No, I think last time we made a big hullabaloo of it being the 10th.
That's true. As well, dear listeners, as you can tell, I'm still completely lost on numbers. Then this
I
is
mean,
the 11th.
I mean, we could look at the episodes that preceded it just to be sure.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
well,
It's 11.
okay. Well,
11.
I will just pretend that it was on purpose and it was me being mean because now the listeners will click on this and see it's episode 11 and I start out by saying welcome to episode 15 or 16 and they will go like, what the hell happened?
Yeah.
And it was not at all a mistake on my part because of course it wasn't. All right, anyway, welcome back everyone. We have a full group tonight. Of merry pseudo Vikings.
I resent the accusation that we are Mary Sue's.
All right, fair enough. I'll give you that one.
I also don't think we're Doe Vikings.
I hate you guys just a little.
Look. At least you get to express that hatred through what you can throw our characters into.
Yes, I do. And well, we do need a recap of last time, which I suppose then has to be episode 14? Maybe not.
At least, at least episode 19. At least we're past number 5.
Yes, at least we're past number 5. Oh god. Okay, but since you spoke up and since you're normally the one doing the recaps, Chris, please by all means continue.
Of course, it would be my pleasure. What happened last time? We did some planning to we were inside the fortified hill settlement that we had been ordered to eliminate by whatever means necessary. We'd been inside. We'd met with several members of another group of Southlanders, the Long Razors, and had devised a plan, which we began putting into motion, whereby the Long Razor group that had just come in informed the garrison and the garrison's head that they had spotted a large enemy force in the vicinity and that they needed to send some troops out to help find them. After some negotiating and ego stroking of the graceless and unpleasant garrison commander with I believe you described him as having an underbite so vast that he could drown in his own phlegm, basically.
That's not far off.
But basically, yes, and they sent out the lion's share of their men, and we, the player characters, were put on the night shift with some other guards, along with 2 members of the Long Razors who stayed behind.
Three members.
Was it 3?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
They are all listed under allies.
Okay, and then yes, so we did some. Oh, there you are.
Did
And
Osama
then what?
say?
Yes, she. These 3 were in the town. She just wasn't in the. No, that's actually true. No, she led the men out, so there were only 2. You're right.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
I-
Fantastic that the GM can't remember even the simplest things.
I am
but
not
that-
to be doubted.
But that's what the players are for, and that's what I'm for.
Yes, indeed.
everything.
Thank you for being such a dutiful recapper.
It's no problem. Yes, so night time came, and we started trying to put our plan into motion, and things started off relatively well. Sindri was able to kill the person in the tower he was in quite quietly. Despite some protest, Ulva and Bagi were able to deal with a couple of people in their tower quite handily. Gulfi was sort of waiting on an opportune moment to do what he needed to do, sort of psyching himself up to it because we know Gylfi is a sensitive soul.
Yes, he is.
And then we came to Frody, who tried to be sneaky, but they forgot that he was actually a wizard, and wizards don't do sneaky very well. So
It was actually the dagger hit that missed.
still, it was a wizard wielding it.
Yes.
Point is
I
that
resent being called a wizard. I am not some old dude who has studied books all his life. And I'll fight you in a sword duel if you object.
Yeah, that's fine as long as it's only a sword duel, because then I will definitely win that. But the point is that
If.
the guy that the Frodie was trying to kill quietly wasn't killed quietly. In fact, he started screaming bloody murder and then started trying to
In
run
fairness,
away.
it was bloody murder.
It was. That's the
Wasn't
point.
bloody yet. I hadn't hit him.
Well, no, the point was that Freddy then decided that since bloody murder wasn't working, he'd try some fiery murder, but missed quite spectacularly and started setting buildings on fire. So, and there from there, pandemonium ensued, basically, where buildings started catching on fire, people started getting killed. Sindri had to clean up Freddy's mess and kill his mark after Freddy tried to fry him 3 times and didn't actually kill him, although he did hit him twice. That was something. Gulfi, having carefully planned precise surgical detail how he was going to kill the person in the tower with him, ended up slicing the man's throat open and then stabbing him like a man possessed, because, as we know, no plan to do something as precise as what he planned ever works.
No.
People tried to go for the alarm gong in the center of town. Our allies stood there and guarded it. Ulva and Bagi took the opportunity to kill the garrison commander very effectively on Ulva's part.
Yeah.
Although Bagi was very miffed that he once again had his glorious kills stolen.
That's becoming a trope in and of itself here.
It's basically Bagi is a more personable and slightly more sexually crazy version of Connell from Song of Tara. Yes, and then Frodi decided to do something weird and stupid and to dedicate the destruction they were causing to the Lord of Fire, who is one of the more Master of Fire. My apologies. Who is one of the more controversial and hated powers in the South Under Pantheon. And as soon as he'd done that, the fire started spreading like it was possessed. And so far as we could tell, it was. And last that was left off, we were mopping up the remnants of anyone left inside. Ilva was saving the old man in the inn because the thatch had set fire. I think we were in the process of trying to get a cart full of money out of one of the gates and evacuate, and Gulfi was standing above all the carnage in his tower, watching the flames spread and being reminded of the destruction of Huebor, all the while the sound of Mad World by Gary Jules was playing in the background somewhere.
Yeah, and a very sinister laughter can be sensed more than heard from within the flames.
Of course, because the Master of Fire revels in destruction.
Yes, he does indeed. And the but yes, that is in fact where we rejoin you with flames everywhere, and Yulfi standing in the tower, looking, with his 2,000-yard stare, and yeah, this is horrific. That's the thing. This is genuinely horrific in that it's chaos and pandemonium, and there's fire everywhere around you, and it is one of the primal fears of humanity, obviously, and for good reason. It is fire, and this fire is definitely burning out of control. It's everything is catching in rapid succession. You see you see a man coming, out of one of the buildings, flailing as he walks along, and his entire back is on fire, and he's, there's nothing you can do for him anyway. He falls over and then smolders on the ground, and it is dreadful in every sense of the word. And obviously people are fleeing for their lives, and what else could they possibly do? The two allies you have, Var and Orosti, they come over to where you're hauling the money from the paymaster's hut, and say, are we good to go?
Well, Baggy's busy pushing the cart with the money, or pulling it, or whatever, and so he'll just keep doing that, not really responding, hoping that someone will help him.
that's what words are for.
Yeah.
You can say "help me" and things.
Yeah, that's true. But if no one does help him out of their own kind hearts, he will absolutely yell out and hope that someone.
Kind hearts. That's a good one.
Orosty does give you a hand, but Var is pointing up towards the tower where Gylfi still is, saying, "Are you gonna leave one of your men behind?"
Ah, fuck.
And then I think it'd be a good, since Sindri is the furthest away from everyone. This will be a good time for him to start making his way towards the area where Gylfi is, and
Yeah.
maybe he can be the one to get him while you worry about the money.
No, if he does mention Gylfi, Baggy puts down the cards and, swearing all the way there, he goes to help him.
Orosty does say, "Don't worry, I'm just gonna keep an eye on this, and it'll be there when you get back."
All right. He just grumbles while he goes off.
Well,
too.
Var comes along to help because for all he knows, something has happened to Gylfi.
That is true.
So.
Well, something has. He's been traumatized.
Mm-hmm.
When Baggy gets near, he calls out, "Gylfi! Are you there?"
Well, Gylfi up in the tower, what you are seeing down below isn't this small town burning. You are definitely having a moment where you can see you can recognize this as being the insides of Hürborg, and you can see people running around with the fire blazing from several buildings already, and one of the towers, as you're looking, one of the towers is suddenly bursts into flames, and you can see men coming through the front gate in huge numbers with their weapons drawn, and they're starting to cut people down left and right and making their way up on the wall. And it's you really are having a moment where you feel like you're watching what happened at Hürborg.
How how much of the he can actually tell that's that's not real.
It certainly feels real, but at the same time you're perfectly aware that this can't be happening because I wasn't actually there. But at the same time it both looks and feels discomfortingly realistic.
Gylfi! Are you there, man? Speak up!
Yeah.
Yeah, that does get through to you. You do hear Baggy calling out.
I suppose Gylfi. Oh.
That does sort of,
it
snaps you out of it. It snaps you out of it. That's the point.
Yeah, shake holds a bit, just just quickly grab his, grab his things, that he had, and probably just grab the arrows that the other guy had.
Yeah.
Just his arrows, and start making his way down the tower.
Yeah. So basically, you meet the others at the foot of the tower. Yeah, no problem. Well, or almost at the foot of the tower. You get down before they quite reach it, but yeah, I'm sure you get my meaning. So yeah.
I think in our end of town, if Sindri is coming down from the tower, because I remember running over there, that's where the man went.
Yes.
I think Frodi will stop him.
Yes.
And say, the fire's blowing that way. Tell the others we should get out this way, he says, and points to the gate through the tower. Yes. I'll stay here and make sure the fire doesn't cut us off.
And just as you say that, you realize that the fire, the wind may be blowing in that direction, but the fire is jumping against it.
What devil? What madness is this?
Fire.
Fire shouldn't blow against the wind like this.
Perhaps the powers saw fit to punish our enemies.
What did you do?
I've done nothing but light the place on fire. Go get the others.
Sindri heads off at a run.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Baggy, as soon as Gylfi comes down, he just grabs him by the scruff of his neck and starts
hauling him back towards
yeah,
the
and by the powers, man, why were you still up there?
Like Gylfi snaps your hand away, but like he's walking with you, but he's walking quietly. Like he doesn't. Yeah, he's following you, but he doesn't seem fully there.
I think this registers to Baggy, and he just shakes his head and then makes sure that Gylfi is at least following along.
Yeah. Which means that by just as you start moving, back in. Let me just use an arrow here. That makes it so much easier. You're going back this way. Okay, you can see the arrow.
Yep.
Good.
Yep.
You're going back that way, and just as you reach this house, this building, it collapses, and the what's it called? The thatch on the roof slides off, and it's it is on fire, but it slides off down onto the street that you're walking along, or this path through the town that you're walking along, and you're suddenly blocked from getting out that way.
Are we also blocked from getting to the cart with all the
that's over there, but Oresti is with it, so
All right. Well, let's see. We can't find another way out, Gylfi.
And Bar is still with you as well. So he goes, or the other gate possibly.
Yeah, let's go there then.
Yeah.
You probably meet Sindri halfway then.
Yeah, and you meet Sindri right around there. The thing that you realize as you move that way, because you're now moving against the wind, but you can see how the fire is literally spreading against the wind. So you get to see it as well.
I think Baggy makes a mental note of it, and for later. And right now, it's just about getting out.
Yeah, and you do get out. You get out of the underneath the tower over here, and literally just as you get out of the tower, it's like somebody. It's almost an explosive fire. It's like somebody has suddenly lit the whole tower up like a torch. Everything is burning. Every piece of wood starts to burn at the same time. It is completely bizarre and terrifying, not to put too fine a point on it. You get, you have maybe a meter to spare, or you would have been singed.
I think if needs be, when they are leaving, Thrody will have used his magic to keep the fire at bay just long enough.
Yeah.
What about Oresti?
He's up at the other gate with the cart.
And Ilva?
Ilva would be with him because she didn't actually say that she went with the others, so she's with Oresti and the cart as well. So there's some pretty some pretty capable people guarding it.
I mean, it's still within the confines of a massive raging inferno. It might be good to get it outside of the massive raging inferno.
Yes.
Either way.
Yes.
Even if that means going by the other gate.
Of course. Ulva, are you there?
She timed a while ago that she can't unmute.
Oh, right. Okay, no problem. Well, I'm guessing that Ulva is then helping, getting the cart out of the gate to safety. Yeah. Okay, sure, no problem. She does that, and a fairly sizable number of people get out. There are definitely a lot of deaths in there, but a good number of people do get out. Nobody seems to fully understand what has happened.
That's good. This is good.
Because it all happened so unspeakably swiftly. The fire spread so fast that nobody really seems to have any clue what has happened. There are a couple of soldiers that managed to get out as well.
In which end?
Up with, well, actually, I'd say 2 where Ilva is and 3 where you guys are.
I think Thrody will definitely be on the lookout and cut anyone down.
Yes,
Yeah.
as will Baggy.
Yeah. Obviously, you can do that. They offer very little resistance because they're panicking and frightened and confused as well. But obviously, that means that the civilians who get out realize who has been attacking.
Yep.
Not that they aren't offering any resistance or anything of the sort, and some of them do actually nod in appreciation to you, specifically some of the ones that have been tied up, but the rest, and there are some people who look frightened because they'd settled in with the new powers that be, so to say, and then the new people in charge of the place, and well, there will always be collaborators. So there you go.
Yes.
And they are now homeless collaborators with some very angry, former friends, and yeah.
It's a mess.
It's a right mess, isn't it? And the
I still want the elder or the person who would normally have been in charge of this town before the garrison and the new powers took over to have been called Quisling.
No.
If only. Okay, so yes, that's it's good. They should be afraid. They should be afraid for what they did.
Of course. So you are split up on either side of this burning town, but it's not that big, so you can move around it if you want.
Right, we'll probably do so then.
Yeah. Well, you do meet up. It's easier for you guys over here to move to the other end than it is to haul the cart all the way down there, so I'm assuming that's what you're doing.
I mean, unless unless I can predict that would put us in an obviously dangerous situation with the fire.
No, it won't. It's no place seems to be safe because it's moving, erratically. So
then I'm probably good to be nearby.
Yeah. And the thing is that the patrol that you send out earlier are down that way. They're down over here somewhere. And unless they've literally moved to the other side of the mountains, they can see the glow of the small campfire that you made at the top of the hill. Yeah.
I mean, either way, I think we've put ourselves in a position where we either have to be not there or we have to head straight for them. Because
could ambush them.
That's the point. Is if we head up that way, then we have to. I mean, let's face it. The 2 people we're with Oresti and Var, will want to return to their men, so it'll be.
Yeah.
Well, if we ambush them and they already have people in their ranks who will then fight for our side, we should make short work of them.
Maybe.
So.
And it would leave this place truly undefended. So I think, unless anyone objects...
Var actually looks at you and says, "What place?"
Whatever they might rebuild.
Oh, right. Because right now, this isn't a place. It's a smoking ruin. Well, it's still burning.
It's a nice big bonfire. They should be drawn to it.
And I think they will be, he says. And, it's not as if we can see them coming, because if I look out there, it's just black and dark, and no. My night vision is fucked.
In that case, let's set up an ambush with so that we can come from behind with the fire on one side, them in the middle, and then us. We should be able to see them against the fire.
Yeah, definitely. And it's not going to be a difficulty distinguishing ours from theirs.
Out of character, were there any? Can we see if there were any civilians heading along this path that we're now on?
Yeah, there are.
Well, at least they wouldn't have. Well, the problem if they've seen Ulfabagi,
they're fleeing in all directions. You know, the people who actually escaped the town alive are fleeing to in whatever direction they just happen to be pointing.
Yes, but whatever direction they happen to be facing might be straight into the path of a group of now somewhat displaced members of the Green Shores under Liam, who would be very interested to hear how their nominal allies basically have been killing soldiers and might have just torched their home.
Yes, that could happen.
So if we are playing an ambush, it's got to be quick, and we've got to basically hope and pray that nobody was paying attention when Udva and Orvesti started hacking those two soldiers down.
Yeah, people were paying attention to that. But yes, so you want to basically find a place where you can hunker down and hide and bring the money and the cart and just be out of sight.
Yes, preferably to such a degree that they would walk past us, and then we can strike from behind while they can't really run into the fire burner.
Yes.
Thing.
Yes, the whole fire that burns and
was named
is fire.
Yeah. All right, you do that. You find a place in a hollow, basically, like a small ridge further down the hillside. It's basically it's a false top. So, if you come from below and you're moving up the hillside, it'll look like, oh, I'm about to reach the top. And then when you get to that, you move, you can see, oh, no, I didn't. There's another top right behind it that I have to get up to. But that will also shield you if you hide behind that. And people will be, moving up this way. So
cool. Seems like a good place for an ambush.
And it also means that seeing as they will be facing the fire, there's very little chance they're going to be seeing you. And you wait there for a while, actually. So clearly they've been pretty far away from town when they saw the fire go up, because it's taken them a while to get back there. But they are moving back at a rapid pace, and when they get closer, you hear one of them shout to Otama something. You can't make out precisely what it is he's saying, but it is something about needing to know how many of them managed to swing around them. And so basically he's telling her to look for tracks. So, he seems to believe that whatever group they've been out hunting has managed to elude them, swing around them, and somehow attack the town itself.
That's useful.
Is it possible to hear her reply?
No, she just goes about, her business. She takes 3 of her men and move off to the side. There are still a couple of Southlanders in the group. They were 7 in all. There were 2 back in the town, which means that obviously she's got 5 with her. So there's 1 left in one Southlander left behind with the main force, and she takes 3 of them and moves off to look for these tracks.
What I was thinking was, of course, if it would be possible to meet up with her without meeting the others.
You could conceivably swing around. It would take a little while, but you could do it. You'd have to go down below where they've already gone and swing around behind them.
I think Frody suggests that. Keeping his voice down, but fire tends to be noisy. So
it is. There's a
bad.
lot of noise from up there, so it's not a problem.
So he suggests we go meet up with her. Or now, I think he asks, should we spring the trap now while she's, close enough to turn around, or should we go meet up with her?
Be good for her to know that we're ready to spring the trap.
Maybe we should just send a few. You're fast, aren't you, Sindri?
Yes. And he quietly prepares to move around.
Yeah. So you want to basically sneak around behind and try to, connect with Otoma's group.
I think we sent Sindri to do it.
Yeah, that's what I meant. That him.
Yes.
Yeah,
That is what I'd like to do.
Yes. Okay. And well, you manage. You don't have to roll anything for it because their attention, this group, their attention is fully on the burning. Their burning home.
Mm-hmm.
And so you get around behind them and you do you see them. You see Otoma and her 3 comrades moving off. They don't look like they're really paying much attention to the ground, let's put it that way.
Do a bird call.
They won't know about a bird call.
No.
He'll have to then just sort of get up closer and...
All right, then we do probably need some kind of sneaky, stealthy roll stuff.
I mean...
To avoid getting seen until you're close.
What else can I do?
No,
really?
no. I'm not saying that. I'm just asking you to make a roll for it.
Sure, just making sure I've got the right one.
You can do it.
Don't say that.
You can't do it.
I can do it.
See, you could. I think I can.
Yes, if you just whisper, I'm sneaking constantly as you're going.
Yes. Basically do the whole order of the stick thing. Sneak, sneak, sneak around the enemy.
Yes.
Do one of Elan's songs. Anyway, you get around the group. You do get up close to where the group is moving, the small group of Southlanders. What do you do?
I quietly try to get their attention.
Okay, well, how will you do that quietly in a dark night?
It's true.
I'm not saying it can't be done. I just kind of need to know how.
There wouldn't be any animals around. They'd have fled from the fire.
Oh goodness, yes.
I could try firing an arrow at the ground in front of them.
Sure, you could.
Depends how much of a cracking sound the bow makes when it's loosed, or when the tension of the string is released. He might only pull the string a certain amount to reduce the noise, basically.
Okay, so you're not actually firing an arrow. You're just making the sound of you firing an arrow.
Yeah, that would probably be safer because I don't want them. I mean, let's face it. If an arrow appeared at your feet, I think you jump or attack too.
Yeah. Well,
so
so you do that, but as we just reasoned a moment ago, the noise from an entire burning town is actually so loud they can't make out a relatively light sound like that.
Okay, well, what else can I do?
Step out of the darkness?
I could do that, potentially.
I mean, that depends on how far away they are, of course, from the enemies. We don't want to see you.
No, but
That's
you've moved reasonably close, so,
But how close are they to the group that I don't want to see me?
Oh, they're far enough away from the Men of Tirglass, from the people they've been leading by this point.
Well, in that case, yeah, Sindri will make himself known. He'll get up.
Yeah, well, obviously they pull their weapons when they realize there's somebody there, but they also they're not attacking when they realize it's you.
Yep,
So,
I've got my hand. My hands are up. I've got one hand on my bow, but my hands are up, so I'm not able to use the bow.
No worries. They and Ultima just she nods at you and goes, "So, it looks like you had some success."
So we did. We're still out there. We're in a position where we can ambush the rest of the group of the unit that's returned.
Yeah, I have a better idea if you don't mind.
Oh, I'm all ears.
I want them to go in there. I want them to go into town to see if they can't save their friends and family or their belongings or whatever.
Interesting.
Even if one or two of them should survive the hell that is up there, the nightmare, she doesn't use the word hell, but the nightmare that is going on up there, they're going to go back to their men and to their side and explain that they've just lost this town.
All right.
What we need to do, in my opinion, is get the fuck out of here.
All right.
Because they might survive, they might not. At this point, there's nothing they can do to save the town. And we need to get away from here. Because come morning, there will be... that fire can be seen probably...
I know.
Yeah, very far and wide. And anyone around here with any allegiance to Liam will know what town is at that spot. They will all be converging on this point.
All right. I'll return to the others and tell them to move. In which direction are we all heading? If we are heading together.
She points to a spot further. It's down at the bottom of the hill, but it's not right by the road, so it's possible to find. She says, if you go there, and then I suggest we make our way from here to... We need to go somewhere where we can lay low and be lost for a while, so I would actually suggest we go to the capital.
All right.
We can vanish there.
All right. Be interesting. All right.
And
yes.
Obviously, we will eventually need to go back to to Liam's camp, because we need to get the rest of our men out of there.
Yes, of course. All right.
Yeah.
As I say, I'll return to the others. I'll tell them to meet at that spot you indicated. We'll see you shortly.
Yep, definitely.
Okay. Sindri starts making his way back.
Yeah, you can do that, no problem. And
yeah.
At this point, the men in the group are moving up towards the gates. They want they are moving to get in, and the Southlander, the one Southlander that's still with that group, he's kind of sort of hanging back because he's got no reason to go in there. He only just arrived.
Yeah, clearly. Okay. I imagine that the Ottoman and the group want to go back for him, or at least give him some indication that he should make his way away from there.
Well, Var and Oresti is already over there, so she's kind of guessing that you're she's probably expecting you to bring them.
Well, we could. I mean, we could also just abandon him to his fate, but then that would be cruel and unnecessary. To him, I mean, we were happy to be cruel and unnecessary to these people, but to our own, no,
never. Anyway,
unless they're with Phelan's, in which case we must be excessively cruel.
But you get back to the others.
Okay.
So, did you say?
She suggested that we let them go inside the city, let them try and search for survivors, and while they're distracted, slip away unseen. They might survive, but they won't know any better of what happened here. And besides, that bonfire will be seen halfway across this entire bloody country. Half the armies of that bastard Liam will be coming here to try and find out what to do. She suggests that we make our way any points to that point as quietly as possible. We might want to pick up our ally over there. He points to the one that's still hanging around with the others. And then we make our way to the capital. Try and wait for this to calm down a little.
Yes. We should, of course, return to our captain at some point, but if we could arrive at Karatok's camp with new allies, I think we'd be excused for being tardy.
Honestly, I'm not sure that Karatok's camp is even in the same place anymore. The army moved out to their objectives.
That is true.
But yes, that's what I'm inclined to agree with Otoma's suggestion in this. Although moving the cart quietly is going to be an interesting exercise.
Yes. Perhaps it would be easier if... No, there's too much to divide between us, isn't there?
Not actually. You could. I mean, with Otoma's group there as well, it would definitely be possible to carry. You know, it's not like there are tens of thousands of coins, but there are several. There are several bags of coinage that obviously weighs quite a bit.
Well, in that case, Frody suggests we don't carry around a heavy cart because that makes moving stealthily very hard.
It does. It does.
So yes, it'll be grab what we can off the cart. It might be overladen for a bit, but
yeah,
we can at least carry it reasonably quietly.
Yes.
So I think that is what we do.
Indeed.
Okay. Are either Oresty or Var particularly good at moving quietly?
Not particularly. No, Var is pretty good. He's not horrible at it, at least. Oresty just doesn't,
It might be.
He seems to be the kind of guy who steps on every single branch and kicks every single little piece of rubble, along the ground, something like that.
He's the kind of person who treads on singing floorboards without there actually being bells underneath the planking.
Oh my god, he's Ilva's spirit animal.
Yes.
Hello. By the way. Yes, I think Sindri will suggest that he and Var go and grab the other gentleman.
Yes.
Because they'll be the quietest and can probably. And even if they are spotted, if they are spotted, Var can then vouch and say that can come up with something, or Sindri or Var can come up with something. I don't know. We'll see. We can get that quietly.
So yeah, you try to get you can get his attention. It's not that big of a deal. Again, all the locals, most of them run into they try to get in, and there are some holes in the walls by now where the palisade has burned and it's collapsing. So they can crawl in that way, or the gate is on fire obviously, but they can get in other ways.
Is it possible to use shape fire to close these holes once they've gone in?
Yes, it is. Good. I'll need a roll.
Yes. Woo!
Yep. You close the hole after them, and you not only close the hole after them, but you can tell that you catch one of them in the fire as he goes, as he's not clear of the hole when the fire shuts around him, and you can hear his screams, which are obviously pitiful. Somebody burning. It's a horrible fate. And that there's there's one guy left outside with the other Southlander, and he looks confused and panicked, and the rather tall man he's standing next to just he pats him on the shoulder and puts a comforting hand on his shoulder, and then he summarily runs him through with a dagger.
Hey, Frody.
Yeah?
Remind me to never get on your bad side.
Don't worry. Your family. I don't think you can.
Well, Frody,
I'm not gonna test that.
I must commend you, Frody. You at least managed to successfully end the life of one person with your flames tonight.
I think Thrody looks at him with a stoic expression and says, "I'd wager it was quite a lot more."
I were about to say that I'm pretty sure that these fires ate half the city and more.
I'm pretty sure that Frolina understands my meaning, but refuses to accept it. Either way, we must move.
So you get started moving down the hill towards the spot that Osama pointed out. Is that correct?
Yeah.
All right.
I think so.
Well, I'm asking. That's you know. I want to make sure.
Yes.
No,
Yes,
we're going
yes,
the
yes,
opposite
we are.
direction because fuck orders.
No, it's more a case of every time you say, "Oh, so you're going that way, are you?" It's a case of thinking of what ambush are you planning?
No,
That we don't-
I'm asking because it's you know, it sounded like you were about to move out. I just need to make sure what way you're moving.
Yes.
Yeah,
we bring
right way.
a sword guy.
We are going
and
that way.
then
We are
go
going that way.
there.
Okay.
We are going that
So
way,
you're
yes.
heading down there, and you do obviously you have no encounters with wild bears or swords along the way, and you get to the other group of Southlanders who are you know, sitting on the ground. One of them has taken out a piece of dried meat that he's you know, he's cutting pieces off with a small dagger, and he's just, you know, sitting there looking up at the burning town at the top of the hill, looking like he's enjoying the view.
Ilva remarks with a cheerful expression, "See, isn't that a nice bonfire to come home to?"
Warm and cozy, Osama says, and quite impressive. But then again, I'm not surprised. You are clearly capable people, but as I've said, we probably should move out. We need to put some distance between ourselves and this place because
Yeah, there's probably more people wanting to come closer
My-
to see the fire.
my guess is that by morning there will be 500 or 600 soldiers coming to this place, and that is more than we can fight off.
Yeah. Especially when we don't have a city to burn down around.
Yes.
You know the way, right?
Yeah, I do. Let's go.
Good.
And she looks at her men and at you and says, "Well, you know, we'll handle introductions along the way." And she says, "But I have told them, I have managed to explain to them what is going on, and that what has happened at Hirborg, and the you know, the Raven Lady would not want us to. Well, I do not personally want to stand next to a Phelan after knowing what has happened. But more than that, we cannot fight for the sword that the Raven Lady prefers to die." So, and she starts walking. She says the thing is, as I also told Sindri before, we probably have to go back north at some point. We have to get word to the rest of our people so that they leave at some point. They get away from Liam's
That should
camp.
probably be fast. There was a lot of people realizing what happened.
Yeah, that's the thing. But she says, we can split up here, and we can try to make our way north instead, because you do have a point. But I would still
It's just that
suggest
I wouldn't want them being caught in the middle.
no. But I would still suggest that you go somewhere and lay low for a while, because you are deep inside Liam's country right now, and they will be looking.
That's probably for the best. We do need to get back to our own, but we should perhaps agree on somewhere to meet up in the future.
That is, if we will go by the capital. I've been there before. There are several places that you can stay. There is one place that's called the Wounded Stag. If you go there, the innkeeper in that place, you can leave a message with him for us if you need to, and if you have left left the capital by the time we get back there. If nothing else, I hope I'll see you in Vannes someday.
Yes. That sounds like a plan.
It was called the Drunken Stag?
The Wounded Stag.
The Wounded Stag, alright.
Yeah. Alright, so we will head the other way. And officially, if anybody meets us along the way, what we will tell them is that we never made it to our destination. We saw it burn. So unless they've come across some of the survivors, they won't know. And if they have come across some of the survivors, well, we'll have to kill them too. But we'll handle that. So, go with the powers and stay safe.
And you too.
She nods to each of you, and then her and her men. They turn and move in the other direction. And just as they're about to leave, Orosti says, "Oh, just wait a second." He says, "We've been carrying some of the loot."
Huh? All right.
And Var also says, "Yeah, well, we were there as well. We've earned some of it." And and Orosti says, "Yes, but we haven't earned as much as we're carrying, because there are more of them than there are of us." So, and Var just goes, "Okay, fair enough." But they take one of the bags and say, "I think Orosti says, I think this is fair compensation."
Yes. I think that's fair.
All right, I'll see you guys. He says, I have no doubt that you will make it. It takes some balls to do what you just did, so yeah, you will make it.
So will you.
And they head off, leaving you guys in the darkness.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Yes.
And this is where Ilva, when they've left, looks at the others. Okay, so how do we get to the big city?
Buggy?
Yes.
I assumed you would know. You have been trading.
Yeah, for the record, Baggy, you've never been as far as to the capital, I think. It's a good ways inland, but you did, before you got to the swamp, you were told in what direction it was by the men you traveled with.
You do know what they say about assumptions, yes? I've never been to the capital.
Ah, well. At least we have some people here who are good with directions, then.
Yes.
I believe we were told which way to go.
Indeed.
Right, so...
Ooh, we should go get our capes.
That is... He looks thoughtful. Well, they would easily identify us as...
No one says we're supposed to... We don't need to carry them.
That's true. We can always just bring them with us.
But I would hate to leave them behind. We do get back to the captain at some point, I hope.
Sindri's looking at the two of them, saying, "You didn't just put yours in your backpack."
Well,
No,
out of
because
character,
we
I understood it that we were hiding them, so
Yeah.
if they searched us, we wouldn't be found with them.
Yeah, they were left.
That's true.
In a specific spot.
Okay,
and-
so that was right. We did do that.
Yeah,
Okay, I
yeah,
wasn't
they
sure.
was
That's
left
why.
in a specific
Because-
spot, and it was easily found, so you can
Yes.
easily go by that.
All right,
way
fine.
and-
In that case, disregard that Sindri asked that. He's not that much of a bleeding idiot.
It's just, it was in case they got searched. It would be stupid to, hey, where did that cape come from?
My old grandma knitted it for me.
In the wrong color, she was colorblind. Just like Ilva. It was genetic.
So you guys get your cloaks and head off in the in the general direction of the capital, which in this case is south by southeast.
Yes, and I imagine that even though we might have wanted to rest at some point, I think it would be best if we put some distance between this place and.
Yes.
Good thing we're good at hiding.
Yes, and you do put some distance between the place and you, but I mean, again, you've been fighting. It's been a stressful night. At some point, you really, you need sleep. But the forests here are, they're deep enough and thick enough that it's easy to hide.
I don't trust the forest.
We should set up a rotation of guards.
Good idea.
Possibly
I can take the
one
great
here
night
and
shift.
one further out, just to spot if someone approaches.
I can go further up. I don't mind.
Yeah, let's sleep in shifts then.
Yes, sleep. Yes.
So you guys take get some rest, and you're not disturbed. You have you get a night's rest to yourselves. However, by morning, just as the sun is rising, whoever is on guard then, and I'll leave that entirely up to you to decide, but whoever is on guard does hear a large number of people moving along, not too far away. They haven't noticed you guys. You've managed to hide yourselves pretty well, but there are a lot of people moving in the direction you came from.
That's probably Ilva. She needs so little sleep.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, fuck.
And to alert the others without making a noise, and without them making a noise when you alert them.
Mm-hmm.
Crawling slowly back to the others.
Yep.
Only problem is you should fucking klutz, so I should probably roll something.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Could you roll Dex for me, please?
Uh-oh. 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 Guys, I knew you well.
You managed to get back to the others. You get back to the others without making noises, and
on the upside, she's also, or on the downside, she's also turning slightly blue because she forgot to breathe all the way back.
But you do get there.
Slowly takes a breath in and then slowly wakes up the others.
Yeah. Well, you guys get woken up with a shushing. So yes.
And can probably hear the low rumbling of a lot of feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, in that case, I won't bother asking, what is it?
Oh, you can hear.
Mm-hmm.
By your estimate, there's probably about 150 people marching out there, and
That's
several carts and some horses.
Wow. You see, this if we kept the others together, and this were a Hollywood movie, we would basically be like the Magnificent Seven, and we could hold the village against 150 people. But it's not like that, so.
Nope.
Also, okay, so do we all?
You get woken up, and you all see. Well, you don't see it, but you hear it. It's close enough that you can hear.
Or is it worth quietly moving away, or do we just stay where we are very, 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 very?
It takes a while before the sound fades, because again, they have horses, they have carts with them, probably with supplies. So 150 people can't just forage from the land. Well, they can, but it's not very efficient. So they would have supply wagons with them, and that means it makes quite a lot of noise.
I think it's best to stay down and stay put for now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah,
takes-
it was mostly to wake them up in case that we needed to sneak away because they started to get closer or something.
No, they're moving. They are moving parallel to you, and then eventually you can hear them. You know, they fade. They're kind of, you know, they're off in the distance, and you can hear how they're getting further and further away.
Okay. I just want to point out it's just gone the hour for me.
Yes, it has, and that's a good point. We can take a break here and be back shortly with more The Long Voyage. Episode whatever.
Yes.
Yes.
I like you just came up on that episode, whatever.
Yes.